You know that moment when you sense trouble the second someone walks in? That's exactly what happened the moment Karen stormed into the small, cozy diner my friends and I were enjoying lunch at. She didn't just enter, she made an entrance. Arms crossed, lips pursed, eyes scanning the room as if she owned the place. And the way she strutted, straight to our table, made it clear this wasn't going to be a normal meal. We were laughing over a shared appetizer when she plopped down her designer handbag in the chair across from us, without asking, of course. I thought maybe she was confused or looking for a seat, but no, she was deliberate. And then the words that would set the tone for the next 20 minutes rolled off her tongue. Could you maybe cover my lunch today? I left my card in the car. I blinked. My friend snorted. Excuse me? I said, trying to keep my tone polite but firm. Karen didn't miss a beat. She leaned forward, resting her chin on her hands, giving us what she probably thought was her most persuasive look. I'm just saying, she continued. I'd really appreciate it. You seem like nice people. Ah, yes, that old classic. Guilt disguised as flattery. I shook my head. I'm sorry, we don't cover meals for strangers. You'll need to pay for yourself. That's when her tone changed. The kind of dramatic, theatrical shift that could give Shakespeare a run for his money. Oh, I can't believe this. I was just trying to be friendly. Honestly, you're being ungrateful. Ungrateful? For not buying her lunch? My friend raised an eyebrow. We don't even know you. Why would we pay for your food? Karen huffed and looked around, as if searching for an audience to validate her outrage. I'm just saying, in a world where people are so selfish, she began, launching into what could only be described as a full-blown rant about kindness, generosity, and how society was failing people like her. Meanwhile, the waiter hovered nearby, pretending not to notice the tension, but clearly trying to anticipate the disaster about to unfold. I could feel the stares from other diners, a mix of curiosity and amusement, as Karen's diatribe grew louder and more absurd. By now, I realized two things. 1. Karen expected us to bend to her will. 2. This would not end with a simple no. And so, I braced myself for the inevitable escalation. Just when I thought Karen had reached the peak of audacity, she pulled out a new tactic: manipulation. After being told no politely, she leaned back in her chair, crossed her arms, and let out a dramatic sigh that could have earned an Oscar. I just don't understand, she said, her voice dripping with fake innocence. I thought people were kind these days. You seem like the kind of people who care about others. I exchanged a glance with my friend. That line, classic guilt trip material. But at this point, I wasn't buying it. We care about people, I said calmly, but we also pay for our own meals. That includes you. Karen's eyes narrowed. She tapped her fingers against the table like a general plotting a strategy. It's really disappointing, she said. I'm just asking for a small favor. One meal. And now you're making me feel unwelcome. At this point, I realized Karen had no intention of leaving peacefully. She wasn't just asking for food, she was creating a spectacle, and she wanted us to apologize for refusing. And the more she spoke, the more diners around us turned their attention to the table. Some looked shocked, others amused, but everyone could sense the brewing chaos. She then tried another approach. Peer pressure. I see you're smiling at me, she said to my friend. You don't want to be mean, right? You both know I just need help today. She gestured dramatically, as if we were cruelly punishing her existence. Karen, I said firmly, you need to stop. We are not your staff. We are not responsible for your lunch, and we won't apologize for that. Her jaw dropped, like she had been personally insulted by the universe. I can't believe this. People are so selfish. She stood up suddenly, knocking her chair back with a loud crash. The diner went quiet. Even the waiter froze mid-step, unsure whether to intervene or watch the meltdown unfold. Karen's voice escalated, now almost a shout. I come in here asking for a small favor, and you treat me like dirt. She began pacing, pointing at us as if we were guilty of some enormous crime. By this point, I knew that no amount of reasoning would get through. She wasn't arguing about food anymore. This was about control, ego, and her need to make a scene. It was a Karen-level meltdown in its purest form. Little did she know, her antics were about to backfire in a way she never expected. The next chapter gets even more intense, and you won't believe how this entitled lunch disaster ends. Karen wasn't done yet. By now, she had fully transformed from a pushy diner guest into the center of an unintended performance. She waved her arms dramatically, glaring at anyone who glanced her way. "I can't believe people are like this," she shouted. "In this day and age, kindness is dead." I tried to ignore her, hoping the scene wouldn't escalate further. But Karen thrived on attention. She marched over to a nearby table, leaning in and loudly recounting her plight, as if we were villains in a morality play. "These people," she said, pointing directly at us, "refuse to help someone in need. Can you believe it?" People around us were staring now, some with barely concealed smirks, others shaking their heads. I realized something important. Karen had misjudged the audience. She assumed the world would instantly side with her, that her theatrics would guilt everyone into sympathy. Instead, she was slowly turning the room against herself. The waiter approached cautiously, trying to calm the situation. "Ma'am, please," he said softly. "You need to settle down and pay for your meal if you want to stay." Karen spun around, eyes wide, like the waiter had personally attacked her. "Pay? After all of this?" she cried, voice cracking with fake indignation. "I've been humiliated, treated like a beggar. And you," she jabbed a finger at us again, "you're the worst kind of selfish." My friend and I exchanged a look and, for the first time, allowed ourselves to laugh quietly. Karen, oblivious to the irony, interpreted our laughter as mockery. Her face turned red, but not from embarrassment. This was pure rage. She stomped back to our table, pointed again, and declared, "You will regret treating me this way." Then came the final, unintentional twist. As she turned toward the counter to apparently summon another employee or find some way to escalate further, she tripped over her own handbag, sending her purse and a container of fries flying across the diner. The room erupted in laughter. Even the waiter couldn't hold it in. Karen scrambled to gather her things, red-faced and muttering under her breath, clearly furious that the world had not fallen in line with her sense of entitlement. At that moment, it became clear her plan to guilt us into buying her lunch had completely backfired. Instead of receiving sympathy or a free meal, she had created a scene that left everyone else entertained, and her looking ridiculous. And while Karen stormed out in defeat, the story wasn't quite over. There was one more twist that would leave everyone, including Karen, speechless. Karen stormed toward the exit, her designer shoes clacking loudly against the diner floor. I expected her to leave in a huff, muttering about the world's cruelty. And that would be it. But no, Karen wasn't done. Just as she reached the door, she spun around one last time, pointing a finger like a villain in a low-budget movie. "You'll regret this," she shrieked, voice echoing through the diner. The room held its collective breath for a moment, expecting some dramatic finale. Instead, Karma decided to have its own little laugh. In her final flourish, she attempted to shove the door open in a dramatic exit, only to have it swing back and smack her lightly in the shoulder. Her handbag flew again, this time hitting a chair and spilling a small container of ketchup onto the floor. The entire diner erupted, not with fear but laughter. Karen froze, mortified. Her carefully curated aura of entitlement had been dismantled in seconds by nothing more than physics. The waiter stepped forward, hands raised in calm authority. "Ma'am," he said gently, "the bill is still on the table if you want it." Karen's face went pale, and for the first time, she seemed genuinely stunned. I don't need your service," she stammered, but the truth was written all over her face. Pride had been bruised, and she knew it. We sat back down, trying to regain some composure while the other diners whispered and chuckled. My friend shook her head. "Honestly, I've never seen anyone self-destruct so spectacularly over a free meal." Karen's exit left an unexpected sense of relief in the air. What had started as a tense, awkward confrontation had turned into a comedy of errors. And while she probably considered herself the victim of our coldness in reality, her entitlement had done all the work herself. No lectures, no moralizing from us, just her actions speaking louder than any words she could muster. As we finished our lunch, we couldn't help but reflect on the absurdity of it all. Karen had tried to manipulate, guilt, and shame us into handing over a free meal. Instead, she walked away humiliated, leaving behind a trail of spilled fries, ketchup, and embarrassment. And the best part? We didn't have to lift a finger to teach her a lesson. She had done it for us. Sometimes the universe just handles entitled Karens in the most poetic way possible. So next time someone tries to guilt you into doing something ridiculous, remember, a firm no and a little patience can work wonders. And occasionally, the universe delivers the perfect punchline. The story of Karen demanding a free meal ends here, but it's a reminder. Entitlement never wins when logic and calm meet chaos. Wow, can you believe Karen actually did that? If you enjoyed this wild encounter, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss more crazy stories like this. Drop a comment below and tell us, what would you do if someone demanded a free meal like Karen? And don't forget to like this video if it made you laugh or shook your head in disbelief.